Across history and entirely different faiths, thousands of people report the same experience, an encounter with a ghost or the sensation of a demonic possession. It is easy to dismiss these stories as attention-seeking, but many of these individuals are telling the absolute truth about what they felt. They are experiencing genuine trauma, reacting to a sensation that feels as real as any physical injury. If these witnesses are being honest, yet we know that ghosts do not exist in the physical world, we are left with a massive contradiction. Solving this requires us to look past the supernatural claims and identify the physical mechanisms inside the human body that could trigger such a convincing illusion. To start, we have to look at the cross-cultural definition of a ghost. Whether it is called a soul or a spirit, it is defined as human consciousness that has survived the death of the body and is now wandering the world. In the real world, everything we interact with is made of matter or energy. You can touch a wall, feel the pressure of the wind, or feel electrons in a wire. But consciousness, the realm of thoughts and emotions, does not have these physical properties. As this diagram shows, physical objects react to impact, but you cannot walk into a passing thought or physically collide with an emotion. Because a soul has no physical mass to create a collision, any perceived encounter with a spirit must be generated entirely from within the observer's own nervous system. In the 17th century, medical researchers began searching for the physical source of human thought by dissecting the human body. They were looking for the specific organ that housed the soul. These early anatomists successfully mapped the heart's role in pumping blood and the lungs' role in processing air, but they never found a physical location for emotions. This changed in the 1920s with the invention of the electroencephalogram. For the first time, scientists could measure electrical activity on the scalp and see the mind's behavior as a physical readout. They realized that thoughts and feelings are not ethereal vapors. They are the result of tiny electrical currents flowing through the brain's complex wiring. By identifying the brain as an electrical machine, researchers finally had a starting point to diagnose why that machine sometimes hallucinates a paranormal event. Today, we use tools like the fMRI to take this even further, tracking how oxygen and blood flow to specific regions of the brain in real time. This scan reveals areas that light up during intense emotional states. In patients who believe they are possessed, doctors find markers of a dissociative disorder. Notice the stark contrast: hyperactive clusters next to dark, inactive regions where the brain has effectively switched off. Specifically, a region called the parietal lobe, which manages the boundary between yourself and the outside world, goes passive. When this lobe stops functioning, the brain loses the ability to distinguish its own internal thoughts from external reality. It feels as though the body is being piloted by someone else. Demonic possession is the result of this internal hardware failure, where the brain's boundary-setting mechanism shuts down, leaving the person feeling like a passenger in their own body. But this raises a question. If this is just a biological glitch, why does the brain specifically hallucinate a ghost or a demon? The answer lies in suggestibility. A brain experiencing this glitch will search for a label to explain the terror, and it will use whatever cultural stories it already believes to be true. In this type of rural environment, where folklore and traditions about spirits are deeply embedded, the brain is primed to interpret a neurological failure as a haunting. Statistically, these sightings are much rarer in dense metropolitan environments like this one. When people here experience the same biological glitch, they are less likely to categorize the event as a spirit because the cultural expectation isn't there to trigger the association. The ghost is simply a cultural mask that the mind places over a very real neurological event. Neuroscience has successfully moved from debating the existence of spirits to mapping the specific brain regions that create them. While the terror of an encounter is a real human experience, the source of that terror is internal. Ghosts do not haunt our hallways. They are the result of the complex, sometimes fragile electrical pathways firing in the dark within our own minds.